Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to round number 2 of the 12th KG Daily Ladies Open. We are back, and we are ready to go, despite a slightly delayed tee-off today due to some adverse weather conditions earlier this afternoon. It is 4 p.m., we are live, we are on hole 6, and we are racing sunset, trying to get in as many holes as we possibly can, so long as we have the sunshine to be able to play this moving day second round here. To update you from where we left off yesterday, it had been a 7 under score to lead it. That 7 under score had been occupied by No Sungi, but Isumi had been right in the hunt. She remains there just 2 shots back despite No Sungi falling out of the lead position. That is currently occupied by Soyeon Jung, whose second round 63 was just 1 off of the course record here for a single round. She currently occupies a 2-stroke lead over that aforementioned Isumi. Hung Yumin's very much in the hunt. She is 2 under today, and she is playing her approach from the rough here. 48-degree wedge, skips it thrice through the fairway just before the green, and will roll up. She had that remarkable 5-birdie finish. It was completely dialed in and near perfection all the way from the 13th hole to the finish. Now Jung Yoon-ji, she is 4 under currently. That is tied for 18th. Her approach on 6. Nice and close 52-degree wedge. She can go right at the pin. Skirts the fringe and will be about 6 meters short, and will be able to go to work with that. It's a 71 for her yesterday, off to a start that has 3 birdies in the first 5 holes. And Jungmi, 67 in the first round today. Still looking for that first bird. Hoping to find it on the par 3, and there it is. Should be hoping the first of many, tied for 6th now. And very much in the top 10. Bak Jiyoung, can she join her? It is an uphill putt with some break to it. However, didn't quite get her read there. So she's up 3 spots with a decent start to her second round. 2 birdies through 5 and 5 under par, 6 back. Lee Jae-young. It is 111 all the way to the end of the fairway. She's going to go with 9 for her approach. Pin high and right beside her groupmate, who also was able to secure a formidable arrival on the green. Middle left, the pin placement today on hole number 8. And now on 5, Kim Soo-ji. Lots of time to try and climb up the leaderboard, but yet to find her first birdie until now. She's got that initial feat, that first check mark of the day. And we'll hope to turn that into some momentum, of course. You mean she is learning that tee shot into the rough, costing her the ability to be as precise as possible. Looking like she'll have to settle for a 2-putt par. She is, of course, our leading rookie, 1,818 points so far this season. And despite this being just hole number 6, a birdie and Isomi is within 1 with well more than half her round still to play. In fact, we still got 2/3 of her second round. It's not going to come on this hole. It was she and Hun Jin Young who were keeping Nosungi's feet to the coals, pushing towards the top. Gonna be a little bit of right to left break for Jung Yoon Ji here. Gonna give it a decent backstroke, or a backswing, excuse me, to get it there, but slightly offset to the right. She kisses the outside of the cup, pops back out, and will settle for a par. Shi Yi-Ga-Young and Pungmin Ji, all NH Investment and Securities sponsored athletes. Pungmin Ji was nowhere yesterday. Birdied hole number 1 and parred the next 17, but today, a much different story. Her 67 has her up 33 spots. Only Li Shuying, the rookie out of China, has a better climb today, up 55 positions. As we show you the lay of the land at number 6, it is a 344 dogleg right. That fairway bunker off to the left of the fairway if you aren't quite able to shape the shot as you'd like. From there, downhill approach onto the green, and it is significantly downhill. We're teeing off from about 35 meters above sea level, and we're going all the way to ground level, 0 exactly. Make for some lengthy drives here. Par has been the average score in round 2. 59 of those, 16 birdies, 9 bogeys, and 1 double bogey or higher. Tee shot from Hong Jung-mi going into the rough. It is not a very wide and welcoming fairway. It takes some precision. That is, of course, the benefit from being accurate here. You do get the benefit, the added push. Kim Soo-ji, of course, last week's champion, the big one, the Hanwha Classic, also 2021 winner and runner-up last year. Not quite getting the lay of the land of the green and costing her a birdie. And Bak Ji-young, as the last member of this group to tee off, also finds the rough. So one golfer right, one golfer left, and Kim Soo-ji with a laser down the fairway. Moving right along with Isumi, on par 4 7th with the driver in hand. She plays this well. The pin placement on 7 today is just off the left side of the fringe. That will give her a really wide open look and much to work with for her second shot on what has become a really nice day. 30 degrees and sunny here at Sunning Point. Seems fitting, does it not? And as we see, So Yeon-jung in her round of 63 is our 2-shot leader. But how long will that stay? With Isomi off to another positive start to her round. This is, of course, round number 2 of 3 of the 12th KG Ladies Open. We will step aside and be back with more on our moving day Saturday here in Yongin. And welcome back to Sunning Point. This event 22 of the 2023 LPGA Tour of Korea season. Chung Yoon Ji out of the fairway rough to the right side finds the green, and Park Ji-young, similar circumstances, however, from the other side of the fairway. 107 meters down, will play even shorter, as it is significantly downhill. She will bounce and roll through the second cut and leave herself with a lot still to do. Might have even been needing an extra club there to be able to reach. She had the best tee shot. Let's see if she has the best look at a birdie. Of course she does, and makes it look easy. Ear-to-ear grin on her face as she is really starting to hit her stride. Hung Yamin had to wait until hole number 13 yesterday to do that, but when she got there, it was look out. See if she can find a bit more early round success. I say that certainly qualifies. Eight iron for Isomi. Go up on the fringe. Awfully close to the border of that rough. Might just take out the serious chance to use the putter from there. It'll be an interesting decision that she makes. Hard to believe that we are already in the first event of September. Final tournaments in the summer before we shift into autumn. So if you look at the forecast today, you're thinking it feels like the middle of summer still. We're supposed to see all day rain today. Not the case, despite the fog joining us again this morning, giving us another delay to contend with. Tomorrow, though, not so fortunate with rain in the forecast. The projected cut line at the moment here is even par. So an under par score that you'll be able to join. Keep your hopes alive here tomorrow. 67 players at the moment have done so. Peng Xin-Chil, one of those who just missed out. Back-to-back rounds of even par. And one back of that cut line. Park Ji-young to about a foot. Have to settle for par once again. Isomi indeed going with the wedge. She's going to try and pick this up. Maybe landed a foot or two off the fringe. She didn't strike that well at all. Didn't get underneath it. Might have thinned it a little bit, and a longer putt than she was expecting. Both of the players that were not in the fairway in regulation escaping here with a par. Isomi will be looking to do the same. She somehow has one of the toughest propositions there. For Jung Yun-ji on 7, downhill, looking to pick up another. This looks good, just narrowly inside. Still bogey free with only 2 to go on the front 9. Everything but the finish here. A wonderful opportunity. Well, is there an early round birdie for Hung Yumin? Or more accurately, an early round run. This looks good. How has that gone missed? That break could not have been any more last minute, and unfortunately it's not to be. She can hardly believe it. So suddenly, this to save a par for Isomi started the hole great. Wasn't in the worst position from the fringe, and somehow, despite being the only one in the fairway, she's the only one in the group to drop a stroke, and that extends the margin for her, leaving No Seung-hee in second position. She is playing on the Sun course right now, having teed off on number 10 through 11 holes today as she chases the first win in her career. Seen so many of those this season. She joined the senior tour in 2019, has one victory on the Dream Tour, but not yet having won on this circuit, and has a great opportunity to lead again today. We will monitor her progress closely as this second round rolls along in Yonginshi. We pick things up on hole number 7 with Hung Jung Mi, 131 her approach. And again, with the pin placement today, we are looking left. Well, if this was darts, that would be close to a bullseye. Fortunately, not quite the objective here. Park Ji-young, again, not on it with her tee shot, finding the rough, and might have just cost her the ability to be as pinpoint accurate as she needed. Kim Soo-ji is elected for the 8-iron here, and that was absolutely the right decision. About 5 feet away and really finding her stride now. Not quite the approach that Hung Yoo-min have been looking for. Let's see what Lee So-mi can do, trying to recover from a bogey at 7, also going with 8-iron. Neither she nor Hung Yoo-min particularly inside a comfortable birdie distance. Park Ji-young, this would have been her putt for birdie, but as she had been long, starting from off the green, recovers well and should have no problem getting down from there. Well, it would be borderline miraculous if any of these next 2 putts were to find pay dirt, but stranger things have happened. Hung Yoo-min will be the first contender. Speed's going to be key here. Good read of that putt, but it does leave it a touch short. Kochi with the final hole before the turn. Glances that past the approaching fringe and in a really nice spot. And Kim Soo-ji to get to 5 under. But that is almost exactly what had happened to Hung Yumin, where everything looked good until the very end, but lacking that decisive bit of accuracy, she breezes on by. After finally getting birdie number 1 on the 5th, it is back-to-back pars. Well, it's not just the young star, it is many players right now who are stagnating a little bit. We're at the point where there are several players that just need to see the putt start to sink, get a boost to the confidence. Let that turn of momentum come for Misomi. Long downhill putt. She has the speed. She's just off inside. Zhang Yunji from just inside the fringe. She has an uphill putt trying to find a birdie, but this looks well slow. And it's going to be a bevy of pars for this group as well. All right, time to reset, and we'll tell ourselves, we'll believe that this is the hole. Feels like it's been about half an hour since we've seen a birdie. Why not now at 8? Kim Soo-ji with a drive that rockets down into the fairway. Two putts and a par. Chun Yun-ji will move right along to the next. She's missed the fairway the last couple of drives. Let's see if Pak Ji-young can rectify that here on the par 4. Literally almost identical to Kim Soo-ji. Just enough of that shaping over the trees to the hidden fairway. All right, perfect 3 for 3 from our featured group, and everybody in a line. 1, 2, 3, and away we go. And the frustrations for Hung Yumin continue in that she has her first bogey on the scorecard of the day. That will drop her down to 600, tied for 6th as she misses that relatively short look at a par. And Buck Bogyum from the other side of the green. Uphill to start, downhill to finish. Probably best result she could have realistically hoped for from where she started that putt. Was a heavily hit drive, one that maybe sacrificed a little bit of accuracy to find it. Skips into the rough, and now Isomi. Plenty of time to work herself back up to the lead score at 11 under. She sets up on her final hole of the front nine, the long 604-yard par 5 ninth. She too unable to stay between the lines. .111 and a pitching wedge. Interesting call for Hung Jung-mi. Pin high, but off the green. She finds the fringe. Pin today right in line here with the top of that left located sand trap as we go on to the ninth. Hung Yumin finds herself 5 back now. And also into the rough between fairway and cart path. It's a bit of a copycat game right now with everyone out there, especially in terms of the tee shots. It's much more like it. Kim Soo-ji with an excellent approach. Can she turn that into a birdie? It's been the final ingredient missing, and not just her game lately, but everyone here as we near 5 p.m. local time. Park Ji-young a little bit shallow on the approach, but all on. Chang-Soo Gi on number 9 is well at the pin as well. So the longer that this birdie drought remains, the more comfortable the lead will feel. It is not the slimmest of margins, but it's certainly not particularly wide open, as So-Yeon Jung remains the best of the day and the best of the tournament. 2 shots clear of No Seung-Yi, who is through 12. Lee So-mi 3 back now. Through 8, and Chang-Soo Gi 4 back, also on the 9th hole. We'll take a quick break and be back with more from Sunning Point Country Club here at this 12th KG Ladies Open.
나이스 파.
Good to have you along as we near hour number 2. Park Ji-young. It is not the most direct look at a birdie, but a look at birdie nevertheless, and did really well with it. Everything but that final 2 meters or so. Hung Yumin from a missed putt resulting in bogey to a missed tee shot ending in the rough, and look out on the cart path. She is quite fortuitous with the bounce that it took, and everybody was able to stay clear of danger. She just needed that little bit of luck. Get her back on the straight and narrow. Jungmi can't make up the required distance. Jung Soo-gi to move within 3, just gonna push right. Really good opportunity. Decent putt as well, but not to be. Soo-gi unfortunately has that opportunity gone by the wayside. She'll head to the 9th and final hole on the Sun course with only one birdie to show for it. Advancing down, maybe the birdie will come from that group. So me certainly hoping that she'll be able to claim one of the next ones, and she'll have a really good opportunity to do so with a marvelous approach shot. Coach Yu with a 56-degree wedge in hand. First hole of her back 9, and that is brilliant. Be able to make that birdie putt with her eyes closed, and maybe we're turning the corner on our little bit of a rut. You mean trying to turn the corner, just a simple up. Now she needs her putter, which has been her best club these past few weeks, to be that again. Gets a helping hand from the barrel. It's not why they had put that there, but hey, take your wins. Way on the run. Wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if the champion of this tournament was to come from that group, but they're going to have to start to turn it around. Precisely what Hung Yumin is after. Turns the corner, but turns a little bit too late. So out with a 35, tied for 6 under, midway through the round. Beckiel, she has more than enough time, but she does have to get to at least 1 under. Currently outside the cut line. Why not get it done on hole 10? Grazes, glances, any synonym to say it was close, but not where she needed it. Right on line, here it is. Bit of a monkey off the back moment and a smile from ENG. Let's see if she can turn that into a run. 1 birdie is great, multiple in a row in search of a title are often the ticket. Now, Coach Yu, it was a wonderful approach to just a couple of feet. All but a tap in, and she goes to 3 under. At least for me, this is her big moment. A little break at the end, nicely struck. So she goes out with a 33, 4 birdies on the front 9, picking up where she left off yesterday, tied for 2nd position. Half a round still to play. 5 wood in hand. Drifts to the left, and Kim Soo-ji is able to go fairway to fairway. Chegarem on 10. A very identifiable bucket hat again. Also looking to get on the right side of the cut line and takes the first step well. No Seung-hee, she was our leader at the end of yesterday. She hasn't played poorly. She just hasn't been able to sustain that same level of birdieing. However, with a handful of holes still to go, she only needs 2. She tees off on the par 3 5th. Skips to the middle and unfortunately is not as tight to the front right as she was hoping for. Kim Ji-hyun, she would need basically a birdie every other hole to make the cut. Never say never. She's going to have to turn over and convert on a lot of those putts. Stands ready to go. First of 2 par 4s to start the back 9, 320 meters. Actually makes it the shortest par 4 on the course. From the exact center of the fairway to just beyond pin high. It's a test of courage, this pin placement today.
그래, 이쁘다. 나이스 샷.
Whatever she was looking for on the club face. Thinking that is about as good as I could have played that shot. So we go to 11 with Seung-hee being another player at even. Looking for birdies. Well, she wastes no time. Now she just needs to sustain it. First of the day, she went back-to-back dropped shots, 6 and 7. She is returned to the correct side of the cut line and will try to stay there. No Seung-Hee, we saw her tee off at 13, well, her 13th hole of the day, tee off at 5. She's on the green, but not looking like she's going to close the gap on this particular hole to her Eugene teammate. The top two of 120 in this 12th KG Daily Ladies Open. We will have more from Sunning Point when we return after a short break. We've reached the final green for the final featured group on the front nine. Admittedly, for Park Ji-young, not really anywhere near where she wanted to be. No Seung-Hee. Long way out. Can't count her out, but we will put the probability quite low. She gave that quite the crack despite not being one that she would have realistically expected to make. And that was as directly online as you can possibly get, and Wang Zhengmi has to laugh. It was just over hit. Had a few of those lately, haven't we? Looking down at the club for answers. And Kim Soo-ji at 4 under, looking to go one closer to the top, and looks good. It's great. Great way to finish the front nine. She hits the turn with some momentum. She goes out with a bogey-free 34. She's still 6 back, but definitely a chance to close the gap. Well, if we're honest with ourselves, the first half of the round was admittedly a lull. Missing birdies, missing those pinpoint accurate shots, but we are seeing more and more brilliant approaches. Fortunately, Park Ji-young missed out on the party for most of that front nine, so she'll go and look for better on the second half. Another bogey-free 34 on the way out, and saying we got to speed it up. Off we go. It's a race to beat sunset. We are just about 90 minutes from it here in Yongin. Lots of break to this putt. It starts too early. Speed was there. Kurchi will settle for a par. Turning the corner, coming back down, but not in time. So me will settle for par, stay 2 back. Tied for 67th at the minute. Chegarem +1 today after a 1 under finish yesterday. She had 3 birdies on the back nine yesterday. Today she is the nascent beginnings. She had been in a much better position before the run of 3 bogeys in a row. ENG putting a run of birdies in a row, 2 of them, in fact. She goes to 6 under as that putter is starting to heat up. And a nice drive that finds the fairway. And you meanwhile. Types of birdies she has to have if she is serious about winning for a second time this season. Of course, she makes no mistake from there. That's better. 3 birdies now today, 2 under. Tied for 5th with 8 holes to play. So out of the 3 who've made it to the green, only one seems likely for birdie. But Young officially halfway through this tournament. 27 holes down, 27 to go. Her tee shot on the 28th, hidden behind the hill, but certainly looked like it was a little bit wide. Jungmi nicely played off the top. And Jung Ji. Take your tee shot, put in your coffee order, and carry on. It's a decent setup we've got going here at 11, I'll be honest. And away goes Isomi with another nicely struck drive. She's been driving really well today. Maybe the tee is the secret recipe. Jing could not get that to bite whatsoever. Missing a bit of loft too. That was screaming across and stops on the back of the green. What Peng Jiang had been looking for. It's a lesson in the approach game from Kim Soo-ji. Speaking of lessons in the approach game, you don't play them much better than that. Makes for a much happier walk down to the green. You are as precise as that. Wang Zhengmi is only 80 meters or so out. Looking for the pin here at 10 to the right of the green, and now we're cooking with the gas. Onwards and upwards to 11. Jung Soo Gi. Lots of break to this putt. She gave that a really good effort. A for effort on that putt. Puck Jung from off the back. Does well to get back online. Right up, running down the left side of the green to about 6 feet. Becoming more and more convinced that there is some kind of secret ingredient in those drinks. Especially on a 30-degree day. Wang Zhengmi slightly uphill. Not a ton of break here. Misaligned and overhead. She's had a couple of those today. Mishit drive, and Caddy's curious where it's going to go. Couldn't hang on to the edge. Drifts back towards the middle. Marchiol, it is a chance to get on the right side of the cut line in consecutive holes. And she is unfortunately 0 for 2 now. Probably a little bit more than that today.
치고 갈게요. 이게 제가 필요 없어서. 그거 배터리 안 갈아도 돼?
이거?
어.
얘기 없다면 이거 수명이랑 거기서 얘기 오던데.
아 그래? 어. 뭐야? 그거 왜 네가 두고 있어?
떨어졌어요 방금.
Kim Soo-ji is undecided whether she likes this or not. Grit her teeth a little bit and hoped she'll be okay with it. Goes right side of the fairway. Back-to-back pars after birding to finish the front 9. Leaves her with 6 and needing just 2. Some narrow pivot point. The dog leg comes in. Bak Ji-young finds the middle of it, however. And we now turn our attention to a topsy-turvy putt for Hung Yoo-min. It would be for birdie. She would absolutely have to earn it, but that's going to fall off the cliff. That's how much of a change in direction there was. She has been one of the most informed players on the course. maybe just a little too strong there. Nosumi has closed the deficit to just one. She has 4 holes to play in this second round, trying to be at least sharing the clubhouse lead. 66% of the way through the competition. We are about 66% of the way through our coverage of round number 2, and we'll take a quick break and be back with more at Sunning Point. And welcome back to what has become a sunny Saturday evening in Yongin at 5:45 p.m. local time. Got about 6 holes still to be played. We are finding some good shots being made. We're also seeing No Sungi closing in on the top once again. Kim Ji-hyun, after a double bogey, she is stabilized a little bit, but certainly having done a number to her scorecard. She is well off the pace, tied for 100th, and that is danger. I think it's going to be dry, but it is certainly running a very fine line, and that was an exhale of, I can hardly believe I've just done that. You mean with a 5-iron on 12, first of the par 3s here in 16, and that is money. We are, to be fair, nearing in her favorite part of the course, holes 13 through 16. I know, he's so me. Rare 4-iron on this 172-meter par 3, and she is going to have quite the adventure as well. Making this a very fascinating set of second shots. Both, I think, are away from the hazards, but neither will be particularly thrilled with where they are as we go to 7. No Sungi for 11 under. She cannot get it to fade back online. She's that close to being a co-leader again. She's had a couple where she is overhit. Of course, she needs to be mindful of the speed here on this uphill putt, but she gets the line to match her this time. Hung Jung-mi, just her second birdie of the day, 6 under, tied for 6, very much in the hunt here. Kimi G in the midst of trying to make the cut. She is at even. That birdie would give her a bit of leniency.
위치 표시해둔 거라서. 네.
I think for the amateur Sunday golfer who watches this tour, any tour, that is the one thing that they wish that they could have when they played. Someone to spot your ball, stick a little blue flag there, saves you a bunch of time. They're not often required with how good these players are, of course, but every now and then lending a helping hand. When Yamin has to patiently wait for her group mates, she isn't in any of this drama. This is as high of a pitch as you can get, and maybe a bit unlucky that she caught the fringe where she did. Shoots by the pin, but considering what that could have been, I think she will be just fine if she can convert on her par and get out scotch-free.
이게 훨씬 편하지.
근데 난 아이언으로 굴리나 백스윙으로 치면 어차피 배가 무겁고 깊게 치려고 하면 할수록 더 미스가 크게 날 거야.
So this fescue is not going to be fun to contend with, especially with the pin so close to the fringe. Has to come down on this nearly perfectly. That's about what she could have expected. Let's go to 8. Second to last hole for No Sung-hee, needing a birdie on one of them. As we had just seen about 45 minutes ago, this stretch wasn't the most conducive to birdies. She seemingly did not get that memo. That's a wonderful approach shot. She goes to the opposite side of the flag from her group that also contains An Sun-ju. And we'll be trying to birdie out. If she does twice, she, of course, will have the outright lead by end of day. This is damage limitation time now for Isomi. It's about 8 meters and downhill as she tries to avoid a bogey. She comes awfully close, but she will descend in the end. So that drops her out of tied for 6th momentarily. Excuse me, I got my numbers crossed for a second. Drops her out of a tie, or outright 3rd, into a tie for 3rd with Jae Reem, who shot a 67 today. Chung Yoon-ji also fails to avoid a drop. So The two tee shots that were nearly in the hazard end up costing a stroke to each. Lee So-mi and Chung Yoon-ji. She goes to 5 under outside of the top 10. And Chung Yoon-min has needed to wait patiently for her moment. It is upon her now. She's within 3, and she is back on this wonderful stretch that she thrived in yesterday. She loves the back 9 here. 7 under through 11 holes of the back 9 in just 2 rounds with plenty still to play. The green light for the final group to come through 12. Hung Jung-mi goes first and just carries past the fringe and stops in about the middle. It's the moment she's been waiting for quite some time in this second round. And that close to being a co-leader, but she pops back out on the right side. Still bogey free, but that was her chance. She'll have to get it done on 18. Despite having to wait about 7 minutes for that tee shot, Kim Soo-ji was able to stay dialed in, and dialed in is precisely what Hung Yoo-min was on this run yesterday. Going with the hybrid to start 13, she nicely finds the fairway. The white flag up as that ball makes a beeline and Isomi reaches into the bag for another. Let's take a look at it again. Just caught this on the toe and it was never going to stay in play. Straight into the OB. Not the time for the driver to act up. Isami is going to have to not put a foot wrong here the rest of the hole on 13. That leaderboard could have looked a little bit different had No Sungi made her birdie on 17. She is one back. Che, Reem, Hung Yumin, and Isomi all sharing tied for third at the moment. And if we were to go just a little bit further from the tied for 6th ranks to tied for 13, very much worth highlighting. Im Ji-yu, the amateur, who is currently 3 under through 18 holes. She is the low am at -5 currently. You'll see her name come up in just a few moments here as we step aside once again and be back for hour 3 of the second round of the 12th KG Ladies Open. Well, it certainly feels like the Hung Yumin Masterclass is back in session with another borderline ridiculous shot. I mean that in the best possible way. Hung Jung-mi is not quite able to replicate the same level of precision. She chases down another birdie. Isomi, well, she's chasing down a bogey. That would be the best possible outcome for her here. She has to be close. Won't say impossible, but certainly she would love to be trading scenarios with her group mate. So now Kim Soo-ji just inside of 10 meters. This is going to have some big right to left break for her. She knew it early. So after some cooling off of that putter, let's say, she's found 2 in the last 3 holes. She goes to 7 under, and she will likely soon be tied for 5th with Isomi, or outright 6th position, depending on how she finishes the hole. We move right along to the 13th. This is Chung Eun-ji's second shot, and she also goes to the back right corner with Hung Yumin, and is having a much better trip down the course here than she was about 15 minutes ago. Next up is Park Ji-young as she seeks a birdie here on 12. And yes, she's going to get that as well. So she moves into the logjam, and it's her first birdie since hole number 3. Still without a bogey on the day, and is in a really good position, to make a push for a top 3 end to the day. Pacquiao is needing 2 pickups in the last 5 holes, trying to get back to even here on 14. And moves online just in time. Nicely played. So she still needs the 1 to get inside the cut line, but she is able to nullify her mistake at 13. And now Isomi. This is a big moment for her in the round and maybe for the tournament. Needs this putt for bogey. If she misses, she's dropping 2 and out of the top 3. Minimizes the damage in a big way. So a drive that made a beeline for the trees. She's able to recover for her second bogey of the day, but it could have been significantly more damaging. This is Ko Chiu quietly climbing up the leaderboard to move to tie for 13th at 5 under. Little right to left putt. She does really well with it. Despite starting the round with a square on the scorecard, she has picked up 4 birdies since. Kim Soo-ji, that was a sarcastic smile, if you couldn't tell. She knew she didn't strike that ball well. It doesn't clear the hilly rough. Chung Eun-ji underhits this one. It's a big opportunity for her. She'll have to settle for a par. Park Jung finds herself within 5 now, rocking back on her heels as she seeks a little bit more. It's a tricky bit of fairway to find, uphill, very narrow. She does find it, and we find Hung Yumin in pole position to go third and just 2 back. Back-to-back birdies for her now. And if she can replicate what she did yesterday, she will be the leader. Full stop. And her 5th of the day already. Favorite part of the course. This is Che Garam, also in the same boat as Bakyel, needing 2 pickups in the last few holes, and she starts with a really good approach. She can make that and start to think about what's to come. No Sungi is on 9, and this is her route thus far. Fairway, fairway, fairway. She prepares her approach with only 82 meters to go. I'll remind you that the pin today on 18 is on the left side of the green. Not quite the bite that would have been perfect, but a makeable birdie. And if she holds it, well, she is going to finish the day where she had started it. Though she will have some company at the top. So Yeon Jung's round of 63 has her currently as the only player at 11 under par, as we have officially reached golden hour here. 6:12 local. The sun low in the sky. And a shining light once again is Hung Yumin as she gets ready to tee off on 14. Starts in the rough and pops out into the second cut, avoids the worst of it, but she is slightly off the mark. No such difficulties for Jung Yoon-ji, who reaches over for a bit of a hug. Maybe she's trying to find a little bit of that magic, see if it'll carry over. So me, let's see how this drive goes. Yeah, that's much better, much less eventful. Exactly what she would have hoped for. Somewhere behind that rock is who we're going to see next, and that is, of course, Kim Soo-ji, who was not able to get up. Not only was she not able to get up, she got buried in the sand, which is generally inside of 100. Take the extra club, try to get up, get a face full of sand, and see where he ended up. And she ends up in the rough, and that is not going to be fun. With where the pin is placed today, does not have a lot of margin. And confirming the birdie for Che Gauram. She finds one more in the final 4 holes. She will get to do this all again tomorrow. 66 players at the moment inside the projected cut. And No Seung-Yi hoping this will be her final shot of the day. And it is just offline, missing to the inside. So she goes 65 in round 1. Today it should be, assuming there's nothing unexpected with that putt for par, a 69 and 1 off the lead. Pacquiao is next, 154 from the fairway. She goes right on line. She might do one better, you know. What a remarkable shot that is. Knowing she needed a birdie, she almost gave herself a bit of space there above the line with an eagle. So 134 shots is confirmed through 36 holes for No Seung-Yi. Very much in the hunt tomorrow. Would have been our first eagle of the day, by the way. All right, Kim Soo-ji, see what you've got. Borderline miraculous. Every now and then, you get just used to how good these players are, and then they find a stretch of fringe that's about 3 feet wide and remind you that they are some of the best in the entire world. That's a great shot. Izumi advances down the fairway. In fact, she goes a bit too far. Finds the rough. Back to 13 in an uphill effort. Sung Jung-mi, yeah, ooh. 270 degrees. That ball rotates around the hole. Close, but nothing to affect her score positively. Had a couple of those in the last half an hour or so. You can't help but let a wry smile sneak out. Second shot on the par 5 for Chung Yoon-ji. And she tries to go for it. She certainly has that extra power in her locker, but comes up a bit short. And a tap in to confirm that birdie for Pacquiao, who does go to 1 under. Unable to go back to back. Finish off with a tap. So it is par. Park Ji-young collects another. She has found 10 of them today now.
오케이. 빅세이! 나이스. 오케이.
Kim Soo-ji, despite finding the rough off the tee, does well to recover from there. Coach Yu, 3 birdies in a row and 4 now on the back nine. She is surging up the leaderboard. And you mean scooping this up on 14? Yep, that's basically automatic when it should be anything but. It is almost inexplicable how good she is in this stretch of the course, but it is an absolute marvel to witness. And this final group hot on their heels on 14. Hung Jung-mi will tee off first. Excellently executed. Golden hue continues to paint Sunning Point. Can choose the optimistic approach and say we should see 3 birdies here from this group. Just need some clean contact in the stretch of rough separating fairway and green, and Isomi should be able to finally end of bogeys. And that's the speed she needed. Now where's it going to stop? It's definitely a manageable putt for her. She's had some interesting detours to get to the green, but she has putted really well today. And no drama this time from Kim Soo-ji as she's able to find the fairway with driver and off on what is basically a jog. It's beautiful to look at, but it won't last very long, this twilight sunset hour. Trying to get this second round in before we lose the lights. And Hung Yoo-min is about to birdie and move into a tie for second with No Seung-hee. 1 back at 10 under in the chase for the top. In round 2 of the 12th KG Ladies Open, we will return to what I'm going to nickname Sunset Point Country Club in just a few moments. Welcome to the home stretch of round number 2. We appreciate your flexibility and patience today as we had a bit of a delayed start due to the fog this morning. Hope you're having a wonderful Saturday evening from wherever it is you are joining us. Not that there is a ton of available fairway there. She'll be a bit disappointed to have not found it. And speaking of found it, that's much more like it. Isomi, after back-to-back bogeys, gets back in the birdie column. That is now 5 on the day, 3 bogeys. She's 2 under with just a couple to play. One she absolutely wanted, one that she absolutely needed to stay in the hunt. Well, that is a miss she is going to stew over for a little while. Bit of a shocker, to be totally honest. Kim Soo-ji enjoying her play at the moment. And then you mean it was just a matter of confirming it? 4 and 5, and plenty of time yet to go on and reach where she needs to be. Jung Soo-gi that close. Just tails away at the very end. She'll have to settle for a par. Kim Soo-ji on the approach on 14, runs it back along the border of the fringe in a good spot.
아유, 언덕 밑에 맞았어.
a long way back towards the pin to about 2 feet short of the target. Kuchu will settle for a par here. Jin Young 2. Final putt of the day. And a birdie to take her to a tie for 16th position. Park Ji-young slightly off the mark.
여기서 올려서 여기 바로 보이는 나무 보고
Now Pacquiao chance for back-to-back birdies. And yes, she's got it. Good time to catch a little bit of fire. Jungmi just a little bit under hit. She, more than anyone right now, starting to get a little bit of an itch for a birdie. It's been some time. Isumi finds herself back within 3, tied for 4th with 4 more opportunities to pick up some strokes. Maybe that drive out of bounds, just reset the concentration a little bit. And Kim Soo-ji just needed a touch more. Moving right along. Helpful little downhill roll to, let's call it 6 meters. And to the teeing ground on 15.
Okay, good shot.
I'm sure that was tense for a moment, but she is able to avoid the hillside rough. Jiyoung is next up, and she too goes well.
왼쪽 넓게 써도 되죠?
Sung Min continues barreling along with eyes firmly fixed at the top spot of the leaderboard. Hung Jung-mi, well, she would happily settle for just a birdie at this point. And Isomi, that is well earned. To 9 under, she goes. Sole possession of fourth, back-to-back birdies after back-to-back bogeys, and 3 holes to play. 17 minutes before sunset. That's why you're seeing a little bit of urgency between shots. Now, Chung Yun-ji had one about this distance not too long ago that she overhit. And with par on the line, she can't take any chances. So she stays at 4 under. That is tied for 26th. Still just a 1 birdie, though, on the back 9. Business as usual for Hung Yumin. Staying 1 back. And 16 is the hole that comes of a par 3, a par 4, and a par 5 to wrap things up here at Sunning Point. 154 the meters makes this the second shortest par 3 on the course. There is the protective green side bunker on the front. There is the wide bunker at the back, which could actually lend a helping hand in the extremely off scenario where you are long here. 2 little mounds on the front and back of the green as well, with the pin today located about the middle and slightly more to the right. Should be a drama-free 16th hole. Doesn't mean that pars are guaranteed, just means that there shouldn't be any big blow-ups. In fact, we've seen 25 birdies here so far in round number 2. Isomi goes on to the middle, and we check in with Kim Soo-ji. Bounces through the rough and bounces onto line. That will leave her with just a few feet. If that, it'll be all but a tap-in.
짧은 게 아니라 옆에 맞아갖고
Really good time to find a late push as well. Into the top 5, she will almost certainly go. You mean it is a 7-iron? Would you expect anything less? That is what separates her from a share of the lead. Yumin's in a good position. You go to include a few more rounds. And she won at that to move into a top 10 spot, but it swoops away and we'll have to settle for a par. And the golden reflection on the pond around the 18th hole. That leaderboard is about to look a little bit different, with Hung Yumin all but certainly moving into a share of the lead. And we'll have 2 holes to take it outright. Round 2 of the 12th KG Ladies Open from Sunning Point Country Club. Young and Shi is in its twilight, much like the time of day. Well, it is closing time. He's so me looking to go 3 for 3, but a bit too tall of an ask this time. Tap in to finish with a par. 2 to go. 2 is all she needs, depending on what Hung Min is able to do, of course. Sung Jung Mi, she has been in search of this birdie for some time. Only 1 under today. Be a little right to left from our vantage point. Just enough to keep that on line. So birdie number 3 today. 2 under at long last. 7 under for the tournament. She's level with Kim Soo-ji. And for most, you would feel like this is a relatively tricky putt, but with how dialed in Hung Min is in, you wouldn't put it past her. First share of the lead. Yes, just. Nicely done. A little bit of drama, but co-leader. She's done what she did yesterday, which is 5 under on the back nine, and she still has to improve upon that. Kim Soo-ji ascends as well. 8 under she goes. Bogey-free round of what is on pace to be a 67. Wouldn't surprise me to see her go a little bit better than that. She's putting really well today. So we go to 18. Lee Jae-young, a winner this season. She is off the pace, to put it mildly, but is safely inside the cut line and carries to about 6 feet with a nice approach at the last. Not the accuracy she needed off the tee. She will tuck into the rough, and we will tuck into this par 3 once again. There's one part of her game today that hasn't been firing on all cylinders. It's been the tee shot. That is a decent one, if a little bit short. Sumi is the next to go on the par 4. That rockets off the fairway. It's probably getting a little bit slick with the setting sun, and I believe that's going to end up in the bunker. If not, she is in the rough, which might be, honestly, just as difficult, if not worse. Park Jung certainly has the carry. She's about 7 feet to the right of the pin. Everyone is away, and we are officially past sunset, so it is a literal sprint to the finish. This is Sonia Bean. She was already clear. And she'll finish at 2 under. Great way to end the day. It's an awesome birdie on a very eventful day. It was anything but a guarantee. 38 on the way out, and was able to stabilize a little bit and find some birds on the back. Join me, can't go 2 for 2. It's a little bit of a long proposition. And with so much green to work with, Sumi unfortunately unable to find it after needing a bit of a recovery effort from another missed tee shot. That is just going to stop short. Kim Soo-ji with a good read of the line, but unfortunately no more than that. Head to 17, excuse me, with an unchanged score. Well, approach that is a bit short, and Hung Yumin, after missing the fairway altogether with her drive, she is a little bit too deep. And Park Ji-young has that online, so she goes to 7 under, and 17 is next. 4th birdie of the day. Very nicely played by Coach Yu. Birdie's not out of the realm of possibility. So he's finally up and onto the green. Park Ji-young is misaligned, and I always think that that's a bit of a sneaky way to get a little bit of extra yardage. Obviously, it's not the intended way of doing it. And you mean back and within 6 or 7 feet of a par. Kim Soo-ji is next to drive. Past 7. It's turned in from an interesting morning to a gorgeous sunny afternoon to a cool, overcast evening. We've lost 8 degrees Celsius since we began the broadcast a little over 3 hours ago. Jung Yoon-ji with a putt that would move her inside of the top 20. Tricky one downhill. Line is key, and it's unfortunately slightly right. And last to tee off on 17, Hung Jung-mi. More than anything, it's not that just that they want to get the round in, but you think about anybody who might be in contention tomorrow, the last thing you want is an extra hole or two in the morning. You want to be so laser focused on your 18 to try and win, and I have a feeling that tournament official said you've got to go quick if you want to try and get to 18. Meanwhile, Hung Yoo-min, after an eventful 17th, is going to have a rare bogey on the back 9. So she relinquishes her share of the lead. Probably the only misstep in her game in the last 2 hours of play. So-mi is able to salvage her par. She stays 4th at 9 under. And is waiting for the official word that it is in fact too dark. We're certainly close. Just the second bogey of the day. She birdies the last as she had done yesterday. She will be able to start the round tomorrow as a leader. And Coach Yu, she is able to birdie 18. So tied for 7th at 7 under. Really nice turnaround coming in with a 31. From the cart path to about 7 feet away in the final hole for Park Ji-young. And Nam Jung-mi digs in. From off the fairway, that is a really nice second shot. She can find a birdie in one of the final 2 holes. Start tomorrow within 3 and a tie for 5th position. It's currently the situation for Kim Soo-ji. 105 on this approach. Little left to right wind. And is up with some work still to do. Getting a little cardio in as well, why not? Start 18. Lee So-mi will tee off first. And will just, I think, be in the rough, at least up against it. It's a delicate balance right now to manage knowing you've got to go, but not rush through your processes too much. It's not worth losing a stroke or two. Park Ji-young trying to gain one here. Very complicated putt. Rides the hill, starts to come down, but breaks a little bit late. She will have to settle for her par. Carry that 7 under score to the 18th and final, still bogey free. And yes, that's the time of day it is when the lights of the clubhouse are turned on. It is a perspective we don't often get to see. Gorgeous clubhouse here at Sunning Point. Kim Soo-ji can get level with Lee So-mi with a birdie here at 9 under, but it looks a bit pushed. Still on pace for her 67. Well, this isn't one of the coolest shots you'll see. You can tell. You can hardly figure out where the ball is. We can tell from this perspective that it is in the fairway, but I don't know how we're going to be able to go much more than 5 minutes. I think we might just get this group in. Not even convinced that they'll let Kim Soo-ji's group go. When they get to the tee blocks, it becomes a safety hazard, of course, for anyone around the fairways when you can't see the ball. It's also a competitive disadvantage, but people much more important than me will make that decision. It's really nicely done. Took her so long to get into those moments to find the birdies, but they're starting to come in a flurry. Kim Ji-hyun, this will be her exit from the tournament. Now it's just a matter of sorting out the final score. A +4, tied for 95th. Just not the day that she needed. Will I stand corrected? They're going to let them go. I think if it was any group other than the final group, they'd have a different conclusion.
페어웨이.
So Park Ji-young is safely into the fairway. That's one of three. Brief hold up, just waiting for Kim Ji-hyun's group to exit the green, and now the approaches can begin. Pressure-packed moment for the youngster here. Only 88 meters between herself and the pin. Takes an unfortunate carom and is going to roll off the back. So unless she can chip or putt in, she will be starting in the chasing pack tomorrow. This is a rather unfortunate thick patch of rough. Ball shoots straight up, and she's actually going to be able to work with this one. That's a really nice out from a less than favorable lie. Wants to approach Jung Yoon-ji. She has a really good chance to go closest to the pin, and that is exactly what she's done. Don't think she's going to need the sunglasses from here. Well, tomorrow when they stride onto the green, not only will it be significantly lighter outside, you have to wonder if any of these three, for being realistic based on the score right now, not to fully count out Jung Yoon-ji, but it feels like if anyone's going to be pushing for a win, it will be Lee So-mi or Hung Yoo-min, who have done it. 2023 has been kind to them already. They're two of the top four players in this competition so far. We won't count her out, but we'll say it's unlikely. Putt from the fringe and just 2 feet short. So she will par out. It will be 134 strokes through 36 holes. And we'll start the day in a very promising position. Tied for second, Hung Yi-min. One blemish on an otherwise brilliant back nine with several birdies once again here today. And Isome can join her and make it a three-way tie for the runner-up spot. Uphill and just a bit too quick. And look at that. What an exclamation mark to end the day for Chung Yoon-ji. Just her second birdie of the back nine, so she comes in with an even 36, 4 under for the day. Probably a putt she'll remember for a while. So tied for 18th she goes, and Isome, the tap-in par confirmed, 9 under. So she will start the day tomorrow in the penultimate group again, needing 2 strokes to get to the end. Let's roll through the highlights and then we'll let you go to enjoy the rest of it. We'll start on 13. And we're going to see a lot of Soyeon Jung in this highlight pack. It was a 2 under round yesterday for a 70. But it was a much different story today. Obviously, she has the missed eagle, but she'd have a bobbled opportunity, but start to really turn up the wickets. That was, of course, the missed par. So she'd bogey, but from there, that had been her one and only of the day. Really good finish as well on 16. Great tee shot, leaving her with about 7 feet and just inching enough. And she would pad the lead on 17. This time it's a downhill putt. Little tap to get it started. And based on what we knew already, that's just the eye test to show you how she got there. So it was 63 with 10 birdies in this second round. Isome, early doors. Pick up her bird at number 3, on to 6. Now Seung-yi to move within 1. She, of course, had teed off and started the round on 10. It was a quiet day, but when she played as well as she had done yesterday, she had less to do today. This she certainly had to work for, and that was trying to avoid a drop. She'd go down and battle to get back. Hung Yi-min, meanwhile, this is where things got super fun, super interesting for her. This is an absolutely remarkable approach shot with such little green to work with in that corner. I'll find her birdie from there, and this in golden hour, a golden approach. Kick on the line, a little side spin, short tap in. 17 is where we would go next, and unfortunately for her, some difficulties reaching the green. Missed drive, deep approach, and then a pulled putt. So she would bogey to relinquish her share of the lead. Would go on to finish. It is no longer sunset, it is nighttime. And we say good night by showing you the leaderboard, and then we will make our exit. So-Yeon Jung will start the day tomorrow with a one-shot lead. Hang Yu-mi, No Seung-yi, 10 unders, their tie. Lee So-mi at 9 under. 67 for Chae Reem today. Hang Jung-mi, Kim Soo-ji, they are both on 18. If they birdie, well, they will surpass Chae Reem and make that penultimate group with Lee So-mi. We have Coach Yu with a good day as well. Speaking of good days, a 67 for Pang Min-ji after her 71 yesterday, where she birdied the first hole and parred the next 17. And Im Ji-yu, the amateur, nice and high on the leaderboard, tied for 10th with a round of 68 today. Lee Sul-gi, too, she's probably going to have to pick things up tomorrow. She has 2 holes still to go on the front 9 at the last update. Cascading down, Park Yeol was able to just muster enough in a comeback to make the cut. And the cut line is 1 under. So even wouldn't be enough. And we have 66 players who have qualified for tomorrow's final round, which will start much earlier than it did today, we hope. 1 p.m. local time from Yongin-shi. Enjoy your evening, enjoy your night, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see tomorrow if it is, in fact, the day of So-Yeon Jung. For all of us at SBS Golf, I've been Adam Jenkins saying so long and see you tomorrow as we conclude the 12th KG Ladies Open. Bye for now, everyone.